Welcome back to the channel. I really appreciate you being here, whether you're new or you've been watching the content for a while. If you've ever felt confused, frustrated, or even slightly suspicious about what you see online when it comes to trading, this video is for you. If you've ever wondered why your results don't look anything like the screenshots, testimonials, and bold promises flooding social media, then stay with me until the end, because today we're going to talk honestly about what real trading growth actually looks like. Let's start with a statement that might sound boring, underwhelming, or even disappointing to some people, but it's one of the most important truths you will ever hear in trading. A real trader can only grow their account at an average of about 5% per month. Let that sink in. Not 5% per day, not 5% per trade, not turning a small account into millions in a few months. 5% per month on average. And before you misunderstand what I'm saying, let me be very clear from the beginning. This does not mean that in some months you can't grow your account by 10%, 15%, or even 20%. Those months do happen. They happen to disciplined traders. They happen to skilled traders. They happen to traders who have patience, experience, and strong risk management. But they are not the norm. They are not consistent. They are not guaranteed. And they are not something you should be chasing every single month. This video is about forgetting the hype, forgetting the fantasy, and grounding yourself in reality. Because if you truly want longevity in trading, if you truly want consistency, and if you truly want to grow your account without blowing it up, you need to understand this concept deeply. The trading industry has a massive problem, and that problem is unrealistic expectations. Social media has turned trading into entertainment. It has turned a serious skill into a performance. Everyone wants to look like a genius. Everyone wants to look like they cracked the code. Everyone wants to show profits, but almost nobody wants to show drawdowns, losing months, boredom, discipline, or restraint. You see Lamborghinis, luxury apartments, screenshots of massive wins, and claims of insane returns. And over time, this starts to warp your perception of what is normal, what is realistic, and what is sustainable. A 5% monthly return sounds small only because your mind has been poisoned by hype. Let's do some simple math, not the kind of math that excites YouTube thumbnails, but the kind of math that builds real wealth. If you grow an account by 5% per month, that's roughly 60% per year, compounded. Not linear, compounded. And that's without adding any additional capital. No extra deposits. No gambling. No revenge trading. 60% per year consistently puts you in a category that beats almost every traditional investment vehicle on the planet. Professional fund managers, hedge funds, and institutional traders are celebrated for returns far smaller than that. Many of them are considered exceptional if they can deliver 10 to 20% annually with controlled risk. So why do retail traders think they should be doubling accounts every month? Because hype sells. Reality doesn't. A real trader understands something that most beginners don't want to accept. Trading is not about excitement. It's about execution. It's not about being right all the time. It's about managing risk when you're wrong. And it's not about how much you make in one trade, one day, or one week. It's about what your equity curve looks like over years. 5% per month is not a limitation. It's a byproduct of discipline. When you aim for 5% per month, your behavior changes. You stop forcing trades. You stop over-leveraging. You stop trading emotionally. You stop chasing the market. You stop trying to prove something. You start protecting capital instead of attacking the market. And here's something that most people don't talk about. The market does not pay you based on how badly you want it. It does not reward desperation. It does not care about your goals, your bills, or your timeline. The market rewards patience, structure, and consistency. When you see traders claiming insane monthly returns, you need to ask yourself a very important question. How much risk are they taking to achieve that? Because returns and risk are always linked. Always. If someone is making 20% every single month consistently, without significant drawdowns, without long losing streaks, and without blowing accounts, then they are either lying, hiding the full picture, or they are an extreme statistical outlier. And extreme outliers do not make good role models. A real trader doesn't build their strategy around the best month they ever had. They build their strategy around the worst months they survived. Think about that. Most blown accounts weren't destroyed by one bad trade. They were destroyed by unrealistic expectations, overconfidence, and the refusal to accept slow growth. A trader who understands that 5% per month is realistic also understands something else. Capital preservation is more important than capital growth. If you lose 50% of your account, you don't need 50% to recover. You need 100%. The math works against you when you draw down heavily. That's why professional traders obsess over risk management. They don't ask, how much can I make on this trade? They ask, how much can I lose if I'm wrong? That mindset alone separates gamblers from traders. Now let's talk about those months where you can make 10%, 15%, or even 20%. Yes, they exist. And yes, real traders experience them. But they happen under specific conditions. They happen when market conditions align perfectly with your strategy. They happen when volatility is clean. They happen when your setups are abundant and high quality. And they happen when you execute flawlessly without emotion. What do real traders do in those months? They don't double their risk. They don't increase lot sizes recklessly. They don't assume the next month will be the same. They stay grounded. They understand that those months are bonuses, not expectations. And here's the dangerous part. When a trader experiences 1 or 2 big months early in their journey, it often destroys them later. Because now their baseline expectation is distorted. Now 5% feels like failure. Now patience feels like stagnation. Now discipline feels like fear. And that's when mistakes creep in. That's when traders start forcing trades that aren't there. That's when they abandon risk management. That's when they increase leverage to chase a feeling. And that's when accounts get wiped. A real trader knows that consistency beats intensity. Let me say that again. Consistency beats intensity. You don't need to be aggressive. You need to be repeatable. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be disciplined. You don't need to win big. You need to avoid losing big. 5% per month allows room for error. It allows room for learning. It allows room for drawdowns. It allows room for life. Because here's another reality nobody talks about. You will not perform at your best every single month. You will have months where you're tired, distracted, emotionally off, or simply out of sync with the market. A realistic target gives you breathing room. Unrealistic targets suffocate you. The hype culture wants you to believe that slow growth is failure. But in reality, slow growth is survival. And survival is what leads to scale. Once you have consistency, once you have years of data, once you have proven discipline, then, and only then does size matter. You don't scale a strategy that hasn't proven itself. You don't increase risk on something you don't fully understand. And you don't rush a process that punishes impatience. A real trader plays the long game. They understand that trading is not about changing your life in 6 months. It's about changing your habits forever. 5% per month may not sound exciting, but it builds confidence. It builds trust in your system. It builds emotional stability. And most importantly, it keeps you in the game. Because the traders who survive are the traders who eventually win. Now let's talk about psychology, because this is where most traders fail, not strategy. When you aim for unrealistic returns, you create emotional pressure. Every losing trade feels catastrophic. Every drawdown feels personal. Every missed opportunity feels like a disaster. That emotional pressure clouds judgment. But when your expectations are grounded, losses are just part of the process. Drawdowns are manageable, and patience becomes easier. You stop needing the market to do something for you today. You let it come to you. A real trader doesn't chase trades. They wait for confirmation. They wait for alignment. They wait for probability. And probability doesn't pay instantly. It pays over time. The traders you should respect are not the ones posting massive wins. They're the ones quietly compounding over years without blowing accounts. They're boring. They're patient. They're consistent. And that's exactly why they succeed. If you're watching this and you feel discouraged by the idea of 5% per month, that's okay. It just means you've been exposed to too much noise. It doesn't mean you're incapable. It means you need to recalibrate your expectations. Trading is not a lottery ticket. It's a profession. And like any profession, mastery takes time. Forget the hype. Forget the fake gurus. Forget the overnight success stories. Focus on execution. Focus on risk. Focus on discipline. If you can survive, you can compound. If you can compound, you can scale. And if you can scale, you can build real freedom. Not the Instagram version, the real version. If this video helped you see trading differently, take a moment to reflect on your expectations. Ask yourself whether you've been chasing excitement or building consistency. If you found value here, support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. It helps more than you think, and it allows me to keep putting out honest content without hype. Thanks for watching, stay disciplined, protect your capital, and I'll see you in the next one.